Hello, 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 world. We are here with another chat with Castles, Capes, and Clones, where we discuss everything in the Disney universe. If you there's Karen, yay, and friend Tom, Karen.
Hi.
Uh, um, and anyway, we are going to be doing something a little bit different today.
hmm
We only have just like a handful of news items that we're going to kind of quickly go through. But our big plan is to rank all four phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm super excited. I did my ranking earlier, and we're going to all talk about our. I don't know what cousin Rich or friend Tom has on their list, but I'm sure mine is different because I'm just different. So anyway, how was everybody's Thanksgiving weekend?
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
It
got
know,
was.
all the food.
food.
Oh,
All
it's
that jazz.
Allie and Pete. Yay! Thank you for
Hello, hello.
coming.
It was
Um,
okay. I've had better.
anyway,
Yeah.
um, anything you guys want to share before? I want to share a couple things, but
After you.
No, yeah, go ahead.
okay. I saw Strange World, and
Ooh.
I actually think I liked it. Um, I think they're John Cartering this thing, you
Mm.
know,
Oh, that's too
where
bad.
they put like bizarre marketing, little marketing,
Or little to none.
little to
Yeah,
no marketing, and you don't know what it's about. Just that they're in a strange world, which is true, but there is a deeper story to it, and I I enjoyed it. Even my sister Olivia, who she has no fear in telling me that she either likes or hates a film or whatever, but she said, oh, she thought it was cute. So it's not like the best film ever, um,
right.
but I enjoyed it. I thought it was it's probably going to come to Disney Plus soon because it made half of what the expectations were, and it was like one of the lowest Thanksgiving weekends for Disney animation or Pixar film. So that's sad.
Yeah. What little I read on it, aside from like, oh, it didn't do well in the box office. Like reviews were pretty much the same as yours. Like, yeah, I liked it, but that's
Yeah,
kind of it. Like, I liked it. It's cute,
Mm.
but as far as it goes.
yeah. I think it's worth it, but actually, I would say just stream it. Although to tell you the truth, like the visuals are really beautiful, like on a big screen. So I
Right.
almost would suggest if you want to go see it in the theater to go see it.
hmm
Otherwise, it's a stream. It's a good streamer. We've got Ben and Danielle in the audience, with you. Perfect timing
Greetings.
because I wanted to say that I'm going to be part of trivia night on Melic Adventures on Saturday, December 3rd at
Nice.
what time is it at again? 4:30 Pacific, which is 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 7:30 your time, right? Wait, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30. Melix, can you tell me the time again? I should have written it down. But the theme is going to be 7 p.m. Central, so that's 4 p.m. I mean 5 p.m. our time,
Yeah.
Pacific. So anyway, the theme is going to be Disney Christmas movies.
Ooh.
So I can't wait for that. I've been watching a lot of them, training, you know. So And then I just also wanted to finally mention before we get on to the news that I have been updating the website, and I have some movie reviews up there, some television reviews. I got some box office news, Sensational Sundays, which comes out every Sunday. So there's unique content that you don't get on our YouTube channel. So just check it out. I always mention it at the end, but for the longest time I didn't have it updated, so I didn't. But now I'm trying to update it more.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the news. So Bob Iger, we know, is back, and he had his first town hall. Uh, he said about the hiring freeze that they had. He said they will continue as they take a deep look at Disney's cost structure. There's been a rumor that Apple is going to buy Disney or merge or whatever, but Iger said that it's pure speculation and that there are no plans for major acquisitions during his tenure or during his 2 years at Disney. And on Florida and politics, he doesn't know what Reedy Creek will do to the business yet. And he said, I think there's a misperception here about what politics is. Some of the subjects that have been proven to be controversial as it relates to Disney have been branded political, and I don't think they are. And in regards to park reservations, he's going to defer to Josh tomorrow. And then finally on Disney Plus, he said they're going to focus from adding subscribers to being profitable. So,
be right back.
All right. BRB. Yeah, so I'm just excited to have Bob back. I think everything that he said makes sense. He's coming in again and he has to figure out what's going on. And there was a big stock hit. So I get that he wants to do the hiring freeze still. Yeah.
What I didn't add is that the Imagineering move from California to Florida has been postponed.
Good.
Until 2026, but that just really means they have that long to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
I really think he's going to keep them in California, and I think the 2026 is just to come up with a plan.
There's so much history to the Flower Street campus and then they just built more campus that it just doesn't make sense to me that they'd move it to Florida. I mean, we've got Disneyland as well, so hello. What? Either way, you're going to be shipping things back and forth or whatever. Put like a division there or whatever that they can have over there as well.
Right.
And just split the time. That's what I think personally.
I mean, if Disney moves forward, they're essentially going to expand both the California Adventure and Disneyland. So it would make more sense to have Imagineers here.
Yeah.
And then have a small division up in Florida. Where there's expansion there, but it's not going to happen for a while. Like everything that was mentioned at D23 is all blue sky,
right?
So
yeah. I think it's good. I mean, I'm excited about the possibilities. So.
Yeah, I'm just gotta remember that he's only here for 2 years. So he's
2 years. Oh God, he's got a lot to do in 2 years.
Yeah, basically, he's got to fix stuff, and then he's got to find a successor. So,
Yep, exactly. All right, let's move on to the next thing, which is Night at the Museum. Kamun Ra rises again. They release a trailer and a poster. If you go to our website at www.castlescapesandclones.com, you can find that trailer there with the poster. And I love that they made the characters look like the ones from the movie, the live action movie, I should say. So this is a movie. I thought it was going to be a series for some reason, but it looks a lot of fun. So I just wanted to just throw that out there and let everybody know they can watch it on our website. And yeah, did you get to see it?
yeah. I didn't know it'd be a cartoon, but it actually looks pretty. I like the night at the
Yeah,
museum.
I do too. I like it. I think it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully, Tom will come back soon because we are going to talk next about Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. So, should we just proceed with that, or you think Tom will
I don't know
be
when he's.
sad?
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, we'll just have to go into it, and I guess just give our thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. All three of us have seen it, and do you want to give your thoughts first, or should I?
Sure, I'll go. Without any kind of spoilers, it's definitely like I have two reviews for it. If it was just a Marvel thing compared to like Werewolf by Night,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of lukewarm about it. But what it's meant to be is an homage to the '80s holiday specials. So all the all the silliness, all the weird stuff that goes on, and even the way it was filmed harkens back to the Star Wars special and all those specials that used to air on network TV.
Mm-hmm.
So complete with an animated section, musical performances,
the rotoscoping.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, and there is information in it that definitely will play into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yes.
But again, no spoilers. So overall, I thought it was a pretty good holiday special.
Yeah. I also actually I as soon as I saw it, I wrote on Facebook, this is my favorite holiday special of all time. I loved it. I loved it. I think the fact that they a lot of people have been complaining that it didn't really feature all of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I kind of like the you know buddy special with Mantis and Drax, and they're so innocent, and so kind of clueless about the world, very fish out of water, and they don't know what they're doing when they're on Earth. And I just think that's not giving anything away. That was in the trailer, and they go to get Kevin Bacon, which is also in the trailer. But yeah, there is a piece in there that is going to play in Guardians 3, and I thought it was very heartwarming. So that's what I definitely will watch it again. We'll have a cup of cocoa and just bathe in the holiday festiveness of the special. Friend Tom, what are your thoughts?
There's some bias here because I love the Guardians are like near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
So I absolutely loved it, and I did get choked up at the end. Well, more, no, I cried at the end. I'll just say that without giving anything away. But It was I like like people complained about, oh, you didn't get all of them. I mean, first of all, it's a special and
Hmm.
it's not a feature, and second of all, I like what we got. We got more. I mean, this isn't really spoilery, but we got more of Mantis, which I mean, we got some of her in Volume 2, but we got to know her even more in this one.
Yeah, that I agree. I totally agree about that.
Yeah,
And
She
I
needed
thought it
a
was
chance to shine
wonderful.
we
I
got more
thought
Cosmo.
on
more
Cosmo. Yeah,
Cosmo was nice, and there was I knew that there was a certain song by a certain artist that my girlfriend loves, and I
yeah,
withheld that information from her, knowing that she would probably, because we watched it together, knowing that she'd freak out, and she did freak out. So,
wow.
and it was a nice bonus.
She's a
You
Kevin
probably
Bacon.
it was, well, I don't want to give anything away for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Like as far as like because I feel like James Gunn's really, really, really good at incorporating like music
Yeah,
into
he
his
totally is.
films. Because I do know that he writes the songs into the script. He doesn't just like, okay, yeah, sure, I guess this will work. But he writes them as part of the story. Otherwise, I would say, oh yeah, it was this song by this artist. So
Yeah,
for those who haven't seen it yet, but
right.
I absolutely love. I didn't want it to end. I would have been okay if we got like an extra feature for it. If it was, even if it was like 90 minutes, like
I
another half
know.
hour long.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to end.
People got to remember this was a last minute
Yeah,
idea that he had, and they filmed it during the filming of Guardians 3,
yeah,
right? So very limited, I'm sure, limited budget. That's probably why it's really mostly Drax and Mantis. Mantis
yeah,
alone takes some special effects work.
Yeah, because they have to do her
Little
little
and
antenna.
antenna, right?
Yeah,
And
the
if they
chick
had
with the antenna.
and if they had Rocket, that's that's
Yeah,
pure
right.
CG.
and Groot.
So,
And Groot.
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
yeah. So I
All
like
right.
it.
I love it.
Yay. Okay, so now on to the major portion. Um, and I'm going to hand this over to Cousin Rich because this was his idea, and I'm totally excited
Hmm.
to get into this. I have a very different thought process when I think of favorites, so mine are probably going to be different than the other guys.
Yep. So now that Black Panther Wakanda Forever is out in theaters, that
Mm-hmm.
marks the end of phase 4. So we have 4 phases and 30 movies. And I thought it'd be fun for us to do those ranking things that you see on some other channels and stuff. It's not an order ranking like which one's number one and then which one's last. It's more like almost if you graded them,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and put them there. But one thing I did not do, I didn't include the specials. So Werewolf by Night is not on here, nor neither.
We're just doing the
Or the
feature
television
films.
series.
Yeah, and in the television series is a whole different
Hmm.
can of worms. So that's going to be different. So it's just the theatrical. Well, mostly theatrical. One was streaming only.
Yeah, but the feature films pretty much.
Cheated. She was cheated.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Yeah. Wait, what? Or did it play in theaters for like really?
I don't think it
so.
did.
Oh,
I think
you
that
know
was.
what? No, it did. It played concurrently on Disney Plus.
Oh,
So
Right,
they
right.
released it on Disney Plus and put it in the theaters. And there was a big hullabaloo around that. And that's part of the reason why Chapek is no longer with us. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably plays into why
good.
Strange Worlds marketing is also terrible.
yeah.
Yeah.
So here we have.
considering the statements.
Yeah. So here we have all 30 movies. I have them in order from Iron Man to very hard to see, probably on the screen, but that's supposed to be.
Mhm.
I got this from the internet, so I don't. This was probably created before Wakanda Forever came out. So there's no like.
Yeah, that's like the teaser poster, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the floating head poster.
And these are going to be where we're going to rank it from meh, which is, we don't really think too much of it. It's all right means literally it's right. It's okay. It's kind of middle of the road with some issues. Amazing is above middle of the road where we're kind of like, it's not on our top, but it's not bad at all. Like, it's really good. It just doesn't launch it into the top two, which is fantastic, which is, you're sort of like, this is a really great movie, but Excelsior is the ones where you reserve it for really the creme de la creme of the Marvel movies. And this is compared to each other. This is not like compared to anything else. This is just how we would rank all 30 movies. So we all kind of ranked our own. So what we're going to do is go through the movies in order, see where we ranked it, and then what we're going to do here is rank them in some kind of average / agreement on where we place it as a whole.
Okay.
So in other words, we're all going to viciously attack each other for our own personal preferences and opinions.
We're gonna tear this channel apart. But let's start with number one, the one that started it all. Iron Man. Oops. Whee. No, it doesn't do what I wanted to do. But where did you guys place Iron Man?
I put it in Excelsior. I feel that it is one of the masterpieces of Marvel Cinematic Universe because it started it all, and it really, made me believe that you could fly in an iron suit.
Tom?
Now, I very much appreciate that it's because of this we got what we got, but for my ranking, I also put my quote unquote director's cap on. So I put it on amazing.
Okay. Interesting.
I do love it. And this is from doing, in last several months of doing essentially a rewatch of everything. So that's where I put it. I still think it's great. I really, really enjoyed it. Because before that, it was like a long time since I watched it. I was like, oh, it's way better than I remember. But I saved the top 2 tiers for really special stuff. What about you?
Did you watch this when it came out, or did you not watch it?
Yes, I watched. Well, I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it like right when it went to Blu-ray. So I did essentially watch it when it came out. Okay. And then I didn't watch it at all up until like my subsequent rewatch, earlier this year.
Right. I put it at fantastic. While it's still one of the most perfect kind of superhero movies, I have to rank it against the ones that I put up on top, and it doesn't. It's almost like I have to have a bell curve. Like I can't have everything be super awesome, so I have to figure out: do I compare this movie to the other movies I would rank as Excelsior? And no, right? So that's where it goes. So, based on the averages, that's kind of where it falls between us three.
Yeah, if there was like a ranking in between amazing and fantastic, that's where I'd put it. Like it's close to fantastic, but it's not quite there. Because I'm like you, like I had to put everything else against what I would put in like Excelsior and fantastic. Like Excelsior for me is like just mind blowing. Like I can rewatch these in particular over and over and over again, never ever get tired of them. And then Fantastic's just a hair below that, like not a hair, but it's like they have some issues, but I can enjoy them almost as much as Excelsior. So that's why I put Iron Man at amazing.
Okay.
if that makes sense. Just to clarify.
The second movie that came out was The Incredible Hulk at Norton. I'll go in reverse order. Where did I place this? I placed this at meh. And I feel bad for doing it, but in the grand scheme of all the movies, it's the one that doesn't really fit anymore. Not especially. I mean, sure, like Ross is back. And what's his face? Blonsky.
Yeah.
But I don't remember that movie. There's nothing in it that I'm like, ooh, I need to watch it again. It's like I'm just more like, because of Ruffalo has been Hulk forever.
Yeah.
It's just weird to watch Incredible Hulk. So I placed it at the lowest. Meh. How about you?
Man?
How about you, Tom?
I also placed it at meh because I feel the same way you do, pretty much. You know, what's below meh? I mean, thankfully, I don't think any of them would be considered below meh. I feel like meh is a good lowest tier. Like there's still some stuff in those to really enjoy, but then you're also like, I kind of forgot about this movie at the same time.
You know what's below meh? Below meh is Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If we were doing a DC thing, yeah.
I couldn't. I honestly couldn't do a bell curve with DC. It'll be mostly bottom heavy.
Yeah, but just like the worst, like what's the best of the worst, pretty much.
Yeah.
The top would be the top would be it's all right.
Like here, I know I've shared this with you guys, like just talking like in person randomly. Like I'll put it this, I'll share it on here. If I'm looking at my phone while watching it, it's below meh. And thankfully, nothing in Marvel has made me do that. But the DC stuff, or the DCEU stuff,
definitely below meh.
Yeah.
So anyway, I put it, believe it or not, it's I actually enjoy that film. Mm-hmm. I know it's it's not Ruffalo is a much better Bruce Banner, but I don't know, there was something about it. There was a scene in that film where Hulk and Betty Ross or Betty Ross or Betsy, I don't know, it's Betty Ross. They are like talking, and there's just a gentle moment between the two of them there, and it always sticks in my head. And for that, I just didn't put it in Matt. I thought there were worse films.
In response to our new comment, we just started, so we're doing this in order of release.
Yeah, we just did Hulk right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it here.
All right, I'm okay with that.
Right. Next up is Iron Man 2. Tom, we'll start with you this time.
I put Iron Man 2 in meh. And so in our rewind, my girlfriend and I, she pretty much crammed earlier this year, and I did with her. I'm sorry, we couldn't even we didn't even get halfway through. We both kind of tapped out. So I put it in meh. I mean, there was some fun stuff in it, like that opening thing at the race is great. It's a lot of fun, but I kind of, up until then, I remembered more of Iron Man, of the first one, after that long stretch, because I did the same thing. I watched Iron Man 2 like on digital / Blu-ray, like the moment it came out. So the amount of time kind of somewhat evened out. And I remembered way more of Iron Man 1 than Iron Man 2 in both of their stretches of me not watching them, of me not rewatching them. So I sorry, had to put Iron Man 2 in meh.
That's fine. Lauren.
Yeah, I put it in meh as well for the same reasons. And I just didn't like the way that they introduced Black Widow.
Yeah. It felt off compared to how we see her after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like this whole sex pod thing that I just
Yeah, they were just like, oh, we have we just have this like quote unquote like it just felt like, oh, we have a new quote unquote hot chick in here. But
yeah,
then like when she shows up in Avengers, like, oh, she actually has a character now. Like,
yeah.
where was that?
I put it at amazing. Just kidding. I put it at meh as well.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, wow,
I
that's
was
great.
gonna lose it.
Like, that was interesting.
Like
Um,
even though our rewatches, you're like, you can watch it, but you don't have to.
I feel like if it was just about Stark versus Hammer, it'd have been better. But like every time you throw in like another, especially back then, like early on, usually if you kind of split the villains, it always loses something.
Yeah, that
And
seems to be a common thing.
I'm not a big fan of what's his face.
Whiplash.
I know who you're talking about.
The actor,
Yeah,
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
See, it's funny
Yeah.
because I like him a lot. I just didn't like him in that role. But I mean, Sam is great in everything he's in. So he does steal the show when he's in it. So like it would have been cool if we got more of him.
He was the focus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like the one thing it did, it gave us also Don Cheadle.
Yeah,
right.
Who's great.
Right.
Who's great.
Yeah.
So, but even then, it's still he's got more to do later. Same thing with Scarlet.
Yeah.
Right.
Alrighty, moving quite along. Thor, the first one. Lauren.
I put it in. This is where people will disagree with me. I put it in fantastic. It's one of my favorite Marvel films. Still, I loved it when it first came out. I loved it, and I watched it many times in theater, and I just love it. I fell in love with Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, and I just there's something very special about that film to me.
That's cool. I thought as much.
Yeah.
I unfortunately placed it at it's okay.
Hmm.
Because I again compared to the other Thor ones, and that's where it falls compared to everything else. When it came out, I liked it a lot, and I still like it a lot. But if I'm going to rank it against all the other movies, it falls. I think it falls only because it feels like a different Thor now. Now that everything's said and done.
And what's interesting is that's my favorite Thor. I like it.
That's actually the Thor I would want them like Hemsworth has talked about coming back to play Thor, but he would want another reinvention. Kind of how like Ragnarok and Thor, Love and Thunder were different.
Yeah.
I want him to go back to the Kenneth Branagh type Thor.
Yeah, that's what
this was a better story.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Tom?
I actually placed it in amazing. I placed it higher than both of you guys.
No.
I put it on fantastic.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Wait. Okay, sorry. I got all jumbled. I put it in amazing. I loved the first Thor way more than I remember loving it the first time. I love the whole fish out of water thing when he's still kind of like all kind of Shakespearean. I loved the first Thor personally. So I remember doing this. I was like, I'm ranking this higher than I thought I would. If you asked me a couple of years ago, I would have placed it. I would have placed it like maybe at It's All Right, but I put it at amazing personally.
So we'll put it on amazing,
which is split the difference. Amazing. All right, next up we have Captain America: The First Avenger. I placed this at amazing. because I really liked it. I like this is one of the reasons why Thor was it's okay because I liked Captain America First Avenger more than Thor.
Mhm.
Um, but I like his origin story in the Marvel
Yeah.
Cinematic Universe.
I put it in amazing as well,
And Tom,
just for reasons.
I just made a last minute decision.
okay,
Okay.
I had it lower, but I split the difference. I had it at it's all right, but thinking about it more, I'm like, I'm gonna put it at it's okay.
okay,
And I again, I love Cap aside from other characters that I won't reveal yet, but I feel like it'd be obvious if anyone on here knows me. Uh, I do love Cap, but there was another movie that came along later that changed everything for me.
right.
So
Yeah.
I have to put it at it's okay.
Excuse me.
Still, I still think it's a great origin story, and it kind of stands alone. The whole considering like when he comes from and that big change and how it pays off when we wrap up phase 3 like pays off perfectly. So but compared to again like with you Rich, those top 2 tiers are fighting against everything else. So I put mine at it's okay, but I'm okay with it being amazing too.
Yeah.
Explain the difference.
2-1. It goes to amazing.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Did
I
you
mean,
want to say
no,
anything more, Lauren, about it besides reasons?
yeah.
What? Oh, I just thought it was a good origin story, and
Hmm.
what do you call it? Chris Chris Evans proved to me that he could be Captain America after having been Human Torch,
Hmm.
and I said to myself, "There's no way he could play Captain America." Now,
See, for you, it
many
was
years later,
him and the Human Torch. For me, it was like the dude in not another teen movie is
yeah,
gonna
not
be
another TV movie.
Captain America. That's weird.
Yeah, that was
Who would have thunk?
And now it's like, who else could have played Captain America? Steve Rogers.
yeah,
Yeah. You can't picture anyone else being
which is
Steve.
funny because I still can't imagine anybody else playing Human Torch. So it's
Yeah,
funny.
I think it's fake because didn't Evan say that he'd be happy to play Human Torch again?
Oh, that would be
Didn't he?
so fun.
I
if
think
he
in
came
like
back
Twitter
as
he
a
said, "Yeah,
boy.
I'd do that again," or some kind of interview or something. That'd be funny if they did that.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
kind of funny. All right, next comes the last movie in Phase 1, which is The Avengers. Tom, where'd you place the first Avengers movie?
I placed it at it's okay.
Ooh.
My reasons for this are these, this one is competing with other ones. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I remember watching it. I'm like, this is great. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of great things in it. Like, I know we saw Hawkeye earlier, but we really got to see it. And I know people make fun of Clint, but I love Clint personally. So, and again, we see, Natasha properly this time, but again, I'm ranking it against other things. And I do go back to watch it and to rewatch it every so often. But there's others that I go back way more often. If I'm just sitting here, I'm like, I feel like watching this and I feel like watching this. The first Avengers, I don't do that nearly as much as other films on this in all these in the entirety of the MCU. So I had to be rough on this. But again, if there was like a ranking in between it's okay and amazing, I'd put it there. But I had to pick one or the other, so I put it in it's okay.
Okay.
I placed it at fantastic.
Mm.
Because it's the first superhero movie that did what I've wanted them to do forever, which is bring a whole bunch of superheroes together.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, like, and then compared to the rest of the event, like you'll see what the rest of the Avengers movies lie, but it still for me is one of my favorite of the Avengers movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like again, like I've been a DC fan for so long, and I've wanted to see the Justice League for so long in live action. Marvel beat them to the punch, and also did it so much better.
They did a great job, really good. Because you're like, how can you pull this off? And they did a great job, like a really, really good job.
And even the first Avengers is better than Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I put it in excellent, which is, I mean, Excelsior. I just thought, again, like, I tend to like have feelings for certain things, and that moment when they all are in a circle, I mean, like, I literally was weeping, and I still think that this is such a fun film. Like when Iron Man and Thor and Captain America um, went were in the forest and Thor hits Captain
they're at each
America's
other.
shield. Oh my god! Like it was just so like just those moments, like just what Rich was saying. It's just these moments where you have these heroes that you've loved for so long coming together on the screen and doing things that were in the comic books.
Yeah.
And it's just like so I will always love that film. And I put it in Excelsior. So
we have a new visitor.
What's that?
We have a new guest.
I will hold on. I just want to say hello to Esther. Thank you for joining us. We're doing a ranking of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we just finished with phase 1.
So I think between all three of us, it would probably go here. Technically, like here.
Yeah.
But, okay with that.
Right.
Okay.
Now we enter into phase 2 of the cinematic universe, and that started off with Iron Man 3. I ranked this at amazing, actually.
No, you didn't. Considering what you said to me.
Iron Man 3?
Yeah.
I don't remember
what you said.
Well, what did you say to him? And then what?
You said I can completely skip it in my rewatches. Yes.
I must have misspoke because I like 3. I wouldn't say that too. 2. I would say that.
Maybe he meant 2.
Maybe.
Esther says that her favorite Marvel hero is Scarlet Witch.
A fine choice.
She is definitely one of my favorites.
So yeah, I place it at amazing because, and most people like. I know a lot of people don't like it as much, but I like the personal story of Tony Stark. I come from a world where in the comics I hated Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Right. And like the villain in this one is kind of forgettable. So it doesn't put it up higher. But I think what trumps it is just Tony's story.
Yeah.
And that's why I really, really liked it. It didn't rely on the stuff that went on in the other movies. He was pretty much almost suitless most of the time.
Yeah. I like the fact that they addressed his kind of PTSD from going into space and kind of like falling, all the way down to Earth. I think that was I like the fact that they do that in these films as they address things that came up in other films, and I put in amazing as well.
Tom?
Sorry, I put it in meh. I'm super strict with my ranking. I mean, I watched it twice. Back when it came out on Blu-ray. Then watched it again a little bit afterwards. I mean, granted, meh doesn't mean I didn't like it. I liked all I like even the ones that I am gonna place in meh.
Yeah, that's
I like
true.
there is something in all of them that I enjoy,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I'm putting them against the other ones that I'm like, wow, I almost cursed right now. That I'm just, that in comparison.
Mhm.
But I mean, I will give it another shot in the near-ish future when I decide to kind of do a rewatch on my own. But the two times I did watch it, I just kind of, again, mostly forgot about it. It just didn't
Mhm.
stick in my memory, so had to unfortunately put it in there for me personally.
Right.
He gave us Marvel Cinematic Universe Ben Kingsley.
That's right.
All right, so based on that, I'm gonna place it here.
All right.
Okay.
Next up is Thor: Dark World. Let's start with you, Tom. I'm curious.
I want to know if you can guess where I put it.
If you can what?
If you can guess where I put Dark World.
I'm gonna say meh.
I'm gonna say
Rich? I put it in. It's okay.
Oh.
I enjoyed it way more. In my rewatches, I enjoyed it way more. And this one is like kind of universally hated with like one other or two other exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprisingly really into it, compared to what others seem to put it. I put mine in. It's okay. I surprisingly enjoyed it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where'd you place it, Lauren?
I put it in meh. I just, I think that, like Tom said, there's always something that I like in it, like the part with Tom Hiddleston shape shifting, and then also Frigga, like the whole thing with Frigga. I thought I cried, but I could totally skip over that movie at the same time. So I just put it in that.
Yeah, I also put it in meh. The best parts of it was Loki and Thor, but the villain was definitely the most unforgettable. Most forgettable.
Yeah, the most forgettable.
And like the climax all took place in weird, like monotone landscapes. Like it's all purple and all this stuff.
I'll give you that.
And the Warriors 3 were kind of just relegated to extras in this movie.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see more of them.
I know, before they were killed off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
by our, it would actually kind of fall here. Ish. No.
So
up here.
It's up to you guys. I won't argue. If you want to, I mean, since both of you put it in meh, just put it in there. Since I'm the outlier here.
Meh is meh. All right. Next is Captain America: Winter Soldier. Okay. I want Tom to go first.
I'm gonna give you guys just a brief history lesson here. I, with the exception of like watching like Iron Man when it came out, and then kind of just watching, everything I saw up until that year was just I'll just watch it when it comes on digital / Blu-ray. But I didn't think anything more of that, and I was kind of an elitist when it came to the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rich said, "You need to watch this one. You need to. I think you should watch Winter Soldier. I think it'll change your mind." Because the same year, another movie came out that I won't talk about yet. That started to really change my mind on things. And I saw this one, and I was absolutely blown away by how incredible it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed everything. This was one of the two that changed everything for me, and I was hooked. And I became madly in love with all of these. So I put Winter Soldier at Excelsior.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I also too put it at Excelsior. I just think from beginning to end, it's a fantastically perfect Captain America espionage thriller movie. And yeah, it's ranked one of my highest for a very long time, and will continue to be ranked highest.
Absolutely.
Lauren,
I put it in fantastic, but actually, I actually think that it does also deserve to be an Excelsior because it was like a game changer of a movie, and it was that movie also. I loved Black Widow. Like that's when I started falling in love with Black Widow, because the other films were just kind of like, like, and they put her in like cutesy curly hair and all that, and this she had long luscious hair, and I don't know, just her attitude and everything. I just thought was really cool. I love that. I love the winter. I mean, like some of the fighting sequences are amazing.
They're kind of brutal,
like that,
actually.
That one on the bridge, and Captain America like does that like roll, and it just looks. Oh man,
it looks like it hurt him.
Goosebumps. Yeah, I know. I get goosebumps. So I'm going to put it on an Excelsior as well. So
there's so many great elements. The incorporation of working in like real history, like Operation Paperclip, and all the weirdo stuff I'm into. It's just it's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, then our first Excelsior.
Yay!
Next up is Guardians of the Galaxy. I also placed this at Excelsior. Like, this is this obscure title that I knew, and I think this is the movie that it made Marvel a company and a studio that can make any character reality. It made me hate the DCEU so much. Because
that's great.
They kept complaining about they couldn't do Wonder Woman, they can't do anything besides Batman and Superman. And we got the Rocket and Groot in this movie, and they were done so well that they're beloved character. Like all of a sudden, this like in my mind, every time I saw Rocket, he was this grumpy, I don't know, for whatever reason, British sounding raccoon. But we got Bradley Cooper doing like, now that's replaced my inner voice of Rocket every time I see him. And every time I see him, I'm like excited. And we can see him at Disneyland,
which is insane.
And if you think about it, there have been so many moments with Rocket Raccoon, their own movies, whatever, and still no Flash movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Flash is one of the biggest DC characters. So anyway, sorry.
No. It's very clear what this one means to us.
You know what it is too. I love also DC. Like I grew up with both companies, and I want to see DC succeed, but they've just made so many bizarre choices that, anyway. Anyway, we're not talking about DC here. We're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, anywho.
Where did you place it then, Lauren?
I placed it in amazing, actually, to tell you the truth.
I'm storming off. That's it. I'm done.
I know. There's no reason. I'm not exactly sure why I put in amazing. It's just I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know. I have to rethink some of my things.
It's okay. I mean, I made a last minute. I mean, we could all. I mean, I feel like the point of this is to like kind of like make us like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe maybe you got a point there, and I could
Because
change
yeah,
the
you
point.
do have a point. And I think that it does also deserve to be an Excelsior because it created a whole new brand of movie genre
Yes.
for Marvel. Like, not only was it a space movie, but it was a comedy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, okay, I'm going to put it there.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
I know
it's
you
obvious.
put it
I think personally that Guardians of the Galaxy is perfect, and I say that with zero hyperbole at all.
Yeah.
I think it's. I mean, it came out at a time when life was difficult for me, and I saw this in theaters because before I was already a James Gunn fan. I remember like back when he like, because I followed him on not on Twitter, on Instagram for when he first made Instagram like in 2011 or something. I remember he made a post about, I just got back from Marvel, I'm making this, and I was like, this lunatic's gonna make a Marvel movie? Like, in case you're familiar with his previous work. So I watched it for him, and I left the theater bawling. Like I would just had a profound. I'm tearing up right now thinking about it. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's kind of become a comfort movie for me that I just go back to and watch.
Yeah.
Even if I do, and usually if I do that, I'll just continue the MCU from that point. Usually just from habit. Like, so yeah. So Guardians is up there with Winter Soldier for me as far as the two movies that changed everything for me. So again, just to wrap this up real quick, when James Gunn announced, when he posted, like I think it was last year, like him and the cast for Volume 3, oh, we just started, I teared up because I just can't wait. So, absolutely, Excelsior.
Yeah, and it's ironic that the movie that made me hate the DCEU so much was directed by the person who will be now heading up the DCEU.
Now he's in charge.
Yeah.
If there's any hope.
I know. Hopefully, I mean, I'm looking at that as a good thing. I mean,
sign.
It's sad that he's not going to be doing Marvel stuff anymore. But
I mean, like he's kind of said, even if he didn't, I think he's pretty much has said
he told the stories he wanted to tell.
This is what he wanted to tell.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. One, I'm glad that Disney rehired him.
Yeah.
And he got to finish out his story, and now he's going to give us 4 Guardians of the Galaxy things.
In Gunn we trust,
and 2 rides. So
yeah,
yep.
I feel like he knows what he's doing.
He does.
Yeah.
Next up is Avengers: Age of Ultron. Tom, would you put this?
I also put it in It's Okay. I know a lot of people don't like Age of Ultron like almost at all, but I enjoyed it just as much as the first Avengers in its own ways. I mean, it has flaws, of course, but I did enjoy it more again on my rewatch. So I also put mine in in the same ranking as I did the first Avengers. Also to add on to that real quick, I also liked that it started to kind of build up what eventually follows with the kind of with the divide of the Avengers eventually, like in Civil War. Especially we get little traces of that showing up. I really like that element of it.
Lauren?
I put it in meh. I like there was some good moments to it. I mean, they gave us Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch. I didn't actually like her in that movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I didn't hate her, but I mean, I was like, this is Scarlet Witch.
Wasn't this before we officially got like when they? Wasn't there like a weird reason why they couldn't name her that yet, like legally speaking?
No, it was
Was
just,
that-
it was there's an agreement that they could be used. It was never like a you can't use Scarlet Witch. It was more like there was no point to call her Scarlet Witch at that point.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, because we didn't. Yeah, I mean, I ultimately like the way that she became the Scarlet. Like, you know, when Agatha says you are the Scarlet Witch, I mean, that gave me goosebumps, and I was like, okay, it all makes sense now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so that is great, but I don't know. Just overall, it's not one of my favorite movies to watch.
I place it also at it's okay.
Okay.
Because as villains go, Ultron, I like James Spader's portrayal of Ultron, but I don't agree with is how his story was handled in one movie.
Yeah.
Ultron is like one of the big.
It's
like
one of the
Ultron's
big
up there
bads.
with like Thanos and Kang. Like I always think those like it's like Thanos, Kang, Ultron, and like Galactus, right in my head. So like the his story was only told in one movie. I think it should have been longer.
Yeah.
Considering he touches into a lot more than just what he did in comics. Like I know they can't do his full story from the comics, but I think they could have played it out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You know, it did give us Vision. I like the way that the MCU created Vision.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way that Vision was created. I mean, like I said, there were a lot of good moments to me in that film. But it's just overall, and I totally agree with you about Ultron not, being in a one and done thing didn't make any sense.
And that's where it didn't land higher. Really, it also felt more like a middle couple issues in a longer comic issue run, right?
Yeah.
But it also gave us, I forever loved the party scene at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
that was fun.
With Stanley
as the he drank that whatever from Asgard.
From Asgard, yeah.
Mead from Asgard or whatever. So anyway, okay.
Next up, where are we in the last movie in Phase 2 was Ant-Man. Where did I place Ant-Man? It's funny because it's literally the soundtrack of Avengers Campus.
Yeah,
yeah. I get that. I get that theme stuck in my head a lot, aside from the Avengers theme.
Yeah, they have 5 themes going on in Avengers Campus.
I just feel like I hear it more.
Yeah,
but yeah, Ant-Man, because it's so memorable.
Yeah,
it has the best. To me, it has the best soundtrack, the best score of any of the Marvel films.
I think I might agree with you on that. I think just remembering, kind of remember like the scores for all of them, like which one stands out the most, and that one does for me. I think thinking about it now.
Yeah, I place it at amazing. Where is this? One, I'm kind of glad they went with Scott Lang over Hank Pym. In the comics, Hank Pym's a little bit of a stick.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, and then they had that whole abuse thing. That
right.
Was,
like even in my favorite animated version of the Avengers, he was also still kind of like a stick in the mud. So I liked it was Scott Lang. I liked that this was just a silly heist
movie
kind of story. Gave us Baskin Robin in the MCU. And the power of Baskin Robin. It gave us his buddies, Michael Pena, which
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be in Quantumania. Like, it probably seems like they wouldn't be because it's just a story, but I wish they were. But
David Dashian, I think, confirmed.
Yeah, he confirmed which is great. It's really awesome to see him in more stuff.
But yeah, I thought this was a fun origin story for a character. Again, it's like one of those characters like I didn't really know we'd ever get an Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
And Paul Rudd, Paul Rudd is
Perfect.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Great in everything.
Yeah, he's just perfect in that.
So yeah, I give it in the amazing. It just like I didn't put in fantastic only because I feel like we might get better Ant-Mans at some point. But you know. Yeah. Lauren?
I put it in fantastic because I love it so much. I love it so much, but I didn't think that it was Excelsior material, but I love it so much. And just the shrinking, that scene where he shrinks in the tub,
it's
and then
so
he's
well
like
done.
going through it's so well done. Like I'm just like, oh my god, he's gonna get crushed. Whatever, I just thought that was funny, and I like when he falls out onto the roof of that car. It's what's his name, who played the first Ant-Man in any kind of anything on Saturday Night Live. What was his name again? I forget his name. You know who I'm talking about, right?
No.
I don't. Sorry.
Huh?
I have no idea.
It's anyway, it was the guy whose car he fell on was he was a regular on Saturday Night Live, and I can't remember. It's like I can't remember his name, but he played Ant-Man on Saturday Night Live, and apparently that is the first time Ant-Man was ever in any kind
live
of
action.
Live action, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Interesting.
It would have been.
I didn't know that. I remember the scene, but I don't remember like the guy.
It's like Garrett
Morris?
Something, huh?
Garrett Morris?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tom?
I placed Ant-Man at fantastic. I agree with Lauren here. It felt like an underdog kind of movie. Like, what? Yeah. Like, we all love Paul Rudd, but really a superhero movie? And from memory, it has like two of the most like gruesome, like quote unquote kills in the movie, like deaths, I guess. Like where it's like, oh god, like I wasn't. I mean, when the villain uses that shrinking gun, I guess 3. When he uses the shrinking gun both times, you're like, oh god. And then his demise at the end is kind of brutal, but the comedy's great. Like you said, the bathtubs, when he shrinks for the first time, you're like, this is so amazing. So the connection he has with Cassie, just it's really, really good. So I put it at, and also it has for me the best teaser trailer out of all of the Marvel movies combined.
Yes.
It's not even a tease, not even a trailer, it's like an ad. It's just him, it's just Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas, they're doing this and they're just saying Ant-Man, and that's it. That's the whole ad. That's the best one.
Yeah, that is so funny.
Yeah, I think the only thing the real reason that it keeps it from fantastic is when you said the villain. I don't remember what his name is.
That's true.
Yellow Jacket.
Yeah.
Well, Yellow Jacket, but his name.
I don't. To be fair, I don't remember his name.
He was Yellow Jacket.
Everything else.
He was Yellow Jacket for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't even for that long.
And I felt like even as a villain, I'm just like, man, he's like worse than Obadiah. What was his plan? Like, Obadiah and him didn't think through their plans. Like, they would become super villain, and then that was it.
And then what? Yeah.
Like, oh, we forgive them because they won.
Yeah. and I felt like um, I forget the name of the actor, but he played it a little too much mustache twirling. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it was a little too.
He was giving me Colin
So
Farrell vibes.
yeah, not as bad as Colin Farrell, but yeah, close.
Right.
And but I just everything else about that film just makes it up for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
We will leave it at fantastic.
Mhm.
Yay!
This brings us to phase 3.
Woo!
Phase 3 begins with Captain America: Civil War.
All
Let's start with
right.
you, Lauren.
I put it in fantastic, and I it's somewhere between fantastic and Excelsior. I really enjoy it, and having all those superheroes facing off, and that airport battle.
Mhm.
Hello, it's amazing to me. So I could either go fantastic or Excelsior with it. I just really enjoyed that film.
Mhm.
Tom.
I also place Civil War at fantastic. Um, it's really good. Like some standout parts, some standout moments where the airport scene, especially when Scott goes big and he makes that wonderful like it is just so
Yeah,
good because how else? It's like the perfect reaction to something like that.
exactly.
And by this point, I grew to really like Tony. I didn't like him at all, and like as a character, I was like, this guy's kind of a you know
Well, that
he's kind of a stuck up jerk. So I didn't
yeah,
like him. He annoyed me. He's full of himself, brilliant, but full of himself. But by this point, I grew to really like him, which just makes him a stronger character.
hmm
And it broke my heart seeing them all fight at the end. So, but I
yeah,
understood and I liked that it wasn't necessarily a black and white issue. Like you understand both sides of their arguments.
yeah,
But I mean, I'm Team Cap if I had to pick. But and I liked that became a debate when this came out. Like, whose side are you on? And people kind of had debates and arguments about it. But
yeah.
no, I put Civil War in fantastic, absolutely.
I also put it at fantastic.
Yay! Is this the
Yay!
first time we all agreed on the same one?
I think so.
For all the same reasons, I'll add on. We got Spider-Man, and that
Oh, that's
scene
right.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
where you
God,
first see Spider-Man,
yeah,
I
and the
yeah.
totally forgot
exchange,
about that.
the exchange between him and Captain America,
Is great.
And
where
we
they're
got
like,
Black Panther.
We got
yeah,
a lot of we got T'Challa. We
Yeah,
got a lot of great stuff in
yeah,
this.
yeah.
um, yeah. My favorite scene is just Spider-Man and Captain America.
Captain
Man, like
America.
Their
Yeah,
little
like
their little thing.
their little thing, like, where are you from?
Yeah,
yeah. Queens.
Queens, Brooklyn.
yeah.
That
You
was
know,
really cute. I
um,
love it.
yeah, and like it's Civil War in the comics is a very complex and very difficult
Isn't it
thing
like
to adapt,
really long too?
and it spans like multiple issues and multiple
Mhm.
titles.
Yeah,
But they managed to condense the spirit of it into this movie and apply it to the MCU, and I thought it was
Mhm.
great. It would have
hmm
ramifications. It still will have ramifications
Yeah.
now, and I think will continue to.
Also, the villain is wonderful because it's just a guy. I mean,
Yes.
wait a little. It's just a guy, like
yeah,
just, and he he
Yeah.
he pretty much wins at the end.
yeah.
And
He
at
was,
the same time, you understand where he's coming from,
yeah.
which
You don't
makes a
blame him.
strong villain.
We're just like,
You're like, I get it.
we get it. And we
hmm
still have him. And we still
Yeah,
have him.
Yeah,
he's
he's still
great.
around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Killing
it's
him.
so good.
Fantastic. Next up, we have Doctor Strange. Where did I put it? I put it at amazing. Again, it's an introduction to another part of the MCU. Um, I like Benedict Cumberbatch.
Mhm.
What keeps it from
he
being
is Doctor Strange.
yeah, what keeps it from
Yeah.
being fantastic or Excelsior is, I think, I as much as I like Tilda Swinton, she shouldn't have been
Yeah,
the
that
Ancient
was kind of odd.
One. Like I wouldn't mind if it was another Asian female,
Yeah,
but I feel like it should have stayed in this kind of Asian. It was a perfect place to put an Asian character in,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? I think that was a big misstep, and I think they've already said that. Like, yeah, we probably
We probably should have not done
Yeah.
that.
Right.
which is why. But I love Doctor Strange. I always thought he was a great foil for Tony Stark because they're very similar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they clash really well.
Yeah, and I liked how they handled everything. I mean, and it's the beginning of Wong in the
Mm-hmm.
MCU.
No, and who would know that Wong would be like the glue
Beloved.
of Phase 4?
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I have it at amazing.
I put it in fantastic because, again, like Ant-Man, I just love this film. Like, I loved it. I agree about
Hold on.
the
Keep
Ancient
going.
One. Huh?
Keep going.
Oh, I agreed about the Ancient One, but at the same time, I love Tilda Swinton, and I
Yeah.
I thought that she was good for the role that they gave her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's great in anything she's in.
Yeah,
By far.
and even though I totally agree that she should have been Asian, but I just Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange to me, and I mean, like, that was a character that I didn't know who could play it or if it could be played at all, and they nail the casting.
They're so good at the cat. Like at this point
Every
now,
time.
whenever if there's like a new character coming out, like all this is coming from me who isn't familiar with the comics. Anytime I kind of put them in the same like idea, like the same thing whenever Christopher Nolan casts a movie.
Yeah.
There's like no outrage. Like he knows what he's doing casting. When it comes to the MCU, I'm like, they're gonna be great. It doesn't, even if it's not a character I'm familiar with, I know they're great at casting. But I think wasn't Benedict a fan cast from years before? Like people made their own artwork of him being Doctor. I have a memory of him being a kind of a loose fan cast before.
I mean, I think as soon as they mentioned they're doing a Doctor Strange movie, which is always like 2-3 years before.
Yeah.
It was always, I'm sure he was up there, but so was like Tom Cruise.
That's true.
Tom Cruise, like for everything, like put Tom Cruise in the MCU.
Yeah,
I'm good if he's not.
Yeah, I mean he's
fine. Not.
He'd be fine if they did, but also we're okay with him not.
Yeah.
Where did you put this, Tom?
I originally had it in It's Okay, but thinking about it right now, I upped it to Amazing. The only reason why I had it in It's Okay was because, I mean, as much as I really, really like Mads Mikkelsen, I kind of didn't. He wasn't a strong villain for me, but everything else outshines that. But then again, I raise it because the real villain wasn't really him; it was Dormammu at the very end. And even though we only get that one scene of Dormammu, like that scene really sticks out for me because I like that whole fantastical element of it too.
I mean, as a comic fan, that scene with Dormammu was straight out of comics. Like the
really,
it
seems like
the whole.
It's a very Kirby.
No, it's
look.
Steve Ditko.
No, Ditko.
Yeah,
it's very Steve Ditko look, and they translated it to the screen. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
No, I like that we essentially got like wizards. We got like magic. I mean, yeah, I know we have Wanda, but we got like legit like magic stuff. We got fantastical stuff in it, and it's done really well. When they go into the all the different dimensions, it's a lot of fun. I love Steve, and again, like what you said with him, and I remember watching it. I wondered two things about two different characters. I want to see Stephen Strange have a conversation with Tony, and I want to see Peter Quill also have a conversation with Tony, and we got both of those
we
things.
got that. I just wanted to say hi to Kat.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Kat. Thank you for coming. We're talking about the ranking of Marvel films, and we're on phase 3 of 4.
Yeah. For anyone watching, how are we doing with your choices? Are we crazy?
Yeah. If you are,
Yeah.
let us know what
Are you outraged?
Are you guys closer to Tom's rankings, my rankings, or Lauren's rankings?
Yeah.
Or the
Better
average?
The average. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, okay. Bye, Kat. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for stopping by.
Ta.
Next up is Guardians Volume 2. Tom.
You know.
Is it also
you should know where this is. I put Volume 2 at Excelsior. I had high hopes for it, and those expectations for me were exceeded. There's so many great little moments that I love. One that stands out to me out of everything would have to be where Drax and Mantis are sitting out in front, and just how he's just, the cute thing where he says, "Oh, you're hideous to look at," because Drax is just hilarious, but also just absolutely lovable. But the little moment when he's just, I'm gonna tear up again thinking about this, but just a little moment when he is just talking about his daughter and his wife and how Mantis just touches him, and she's crying. So she's feeling what he's feeling. Like, it's so good. Like, everything about it. Like, I know Rich said something similar, like when it came out, like they, made me love a character I didn't like. Like, just like, it's, again, in Gun We Trust. I could do a whole streaming just talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'll try to cut my comments short, but Excelsior for me.
I put it at fantastic because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 is Excelsior.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for the same reason, it's fantastic. It gave us Mantis, which is a character. Again, I'm just like, really? Mantis?
She was a character I really wanted to see.
But it gave us also a, like, it brought us on the journey also with Nebula, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like the scene at the end with Yondu and the rest of the Ravagers and stuff. So like it's a fantastic movie. Like it's only not an Excelsior only because the Guardians of the Galaxy first one, I like, compared to the two, I love the first one better than the second one.
I get that.
Yeah, I put it under amazing, but I probably would put it in fantastic. Because I really enjoy the film. I think that that Mantis is one of my favorite characters. In the comics, she was one of my favorites on the team, and it was sad that they started off without her. So the fact that they added her, I mean, she's very different from where Mantis originally began. She has like one of the most convoluted histories in Marvel history, comic history. So the fact that they simplified it and made her like this kind of slave of ego. Kurt Russell, I loved him, and I thought that, and I loved the fact that at first I was like, they're making Ego like a guy, but then when they were flying to the planet, you could see his face,
his form.
We got to actually see Ego, the planet, and this is just kind of his avatar on the planet, which I thought was cool. And yeah, the sister relationship between Gamora and Nebula, I thought that was really good. So yeah, I'll put him fantastic.
Okay.
So talking about the shot of Ego, like his actual planet form,
Yeah.
like when Volume 1 came out on digital,
Mhm.
the first thing I did before like watching its entirety, I went to the part where they go to nowhere for the first time and you see the skull. I took
Yeah.
that and I made that my background. And I did the exact same thing with Ego in that same shot as my background.
Wow.
Gun's really great with visuals, so that I
Yeah.
had that in there.
And if anyone who joined us late, if you haven't watched the holiday special,
Do it.
watch
Yeah.
It's so good.
That's very good.
Yeah. All right. Where are we on the phases here?
I'll be right back in like 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Nope.
So continue.
All right. Next up is the first Spider-Man movie. Where did you place it?
I put it in. Where did I put it? I put it in. I thought I put it in Fantastic, but I don't see it there. I must have put it in Amazing. Oh, I think I put it in Amazing to be tongue in cheek because of Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, now I see it there. Yeah, I put it in Amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, I really enjoy this film. I actually, again, I think I would put it in Fantastic, and here's why. Michael Keaton, one of the best Marvel villains. I would never have imagined that Vulture would have been one of the best Marvel villains, but he is. And that scene where he's in the car with Peter is like one of the best villain battles
Yes.
you will ever see.
Yes.
And it's with words and acting, and that scene alone, I'm moving it to Fantastic.
Okay. I also have it at Fantastic.
Mm.
The Spider, like, my childhood again, like it's Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Spider-Man, and Luke Skywalker. So Spider-Man has always been one of my favorite Marvel characters. And I think the Spider-Man movies that they've done so far have all been amazing. I mean, not amazing on this ranking, but like, I absolutely loved the first Spider-Man, and like again, like the evolution of Marvel's villains from one trick, one movie characters evolved also with this Vulture. Again, you kind of understand where it comes from, Department of Damage Control kind of that swooped in, Tony Stark heading it at that time, and took his livelihood, right? And so he did what he had to do. Albeit, obviously probably not the right way to go about it, but desperate. Desperate times. Yeah,
I mean,
measured in a weird time, right? There's all this alien tech and whatnot. So, and Michael Keaton, as much as I loved him as a Batman, he's an amazing Vulture.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they made him the father of the girl that Peter was dating, I mean, that was like, wow. I mean, when he showed up at her house and Michael Keaton answers the door, I was like, what? Yeah, so
I did not see that coming at all.
I did not see it, either. It was like, what? Oh my god!
And also gave us Ned, the guy in the chair, and the Zendaya.
Oh yeah, the guy in the chair. I love Ned.
Right, and that means Star Wars. Well, I guess it existed already in Civil War, but like more Star Wars references
Yeah.
in the MCU.
Yeah.
Wow, with a Death Star and Emperor Palpatine's figure.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did you rank the first Spider-Man, Tom?
I put it at originally, like earlier, I had it in amazing, but thinking about it more and more, and I agree with Lauren, like that conversation of just they have in that car is way more. I mean, yeah, their fight is intense, but like just that conversation was really intense. I was legitimately terrified, and Keaton is incredible, and yeah, because I had a different relationship with Spider-Man growing up. He wasn't really one that I thought of that much, and I watched, and originally like I only watched the first Raimi Spider-Man, and I liked it, but I didn't watch the second one until a few months before the latest one came out, just to kind of catch up. I just never, not for any real. I was like, I don't care. I just didn't think about it. But then when I saw it, but then when I watched it, I was like, oh, I should have watched this back then. Like I was mad at myself for not watching it back because Doc is
15 years.
Yeah, I totally would, because the second Raimi one is so good. Like
it is one of the best Ant-Man.
Yeah,
Spider-Man films. Yeah.
It's so good, and and then so I did that to catch up. So I was mad at myself for not. Why I wish I watched it earlier. But this one, I mean, I know we saw him, in Civil War, but I wanted to see more of this version. I liked this version a lot.
Yeah.
I liked how they incorporated Tony as a kind of bridge, to kind of fill in the gaps a little bit. And I like the connection they have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I moved it. I put it in fantastic.
Okay.
Alrighty. What is the last movie in this phase? Oh, we got a ways to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Thor Ragnarok, the first Taika Thor. Tom, where'd you put this? Let's start with you again.
This was a tough one. I put it in amazing.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And I have reasons for that are related to the one that came out this year.
Okay.
Kind of. I did like it a lot, but there's a lot of things I love about it, but I mean, I love it. I go back to watch it. One of my favorite moment in it is kind of near the end when Bruce is flying that ship and he's looking for a gun. He's like, there's got to be a gun in this party ship. And he presses it. And I love that it's the biggest, most important looking button on that whole panel.
Yeah.
And then it's my birthday shows up. I lose it every time. Like just every time that happens.
Yeah.
Like that's the most important button in there is the birthday button.
That's funny.
Because of course.
So, I mean, I love it, but I have there's a couple of little things that I have issues with that lead into other things. But there's a lot of great things about it too. So it's there's tiny little elements that are a mixed bag for me. So
yeah.
I put it at amazing, but I still love it. I still go back and rewatch it. Absolutely.
Where did you place it, Lauren?
I put it in amazing as well. I there are a lot of things I love. Like I think Kate Blanchett is an amazing Hela. Hi, Jeff Goldblum as Grandmaster. Like so different, but yet works so well.
Yeah.
And there were just so many. I love the kind of banter between Thor and Loki. But I just felt like it. Huh?
Yeah. The get help scene.
Yeah, get help. Yeah. I just felt there was so much going on in that film. Like there's a Grandmaster, there's Hela, and I didn't like the way they treated the Asgardians in that film. Like I just felt like they're supposed to be a warrior race, but all of them are like cowering, and I don't know. It just didn't. It was like, and then the way that they killed Warriors 3, I just I was like so mad during about that. So anyway, that's I still enjoy it, and I put it in amazing, but it could have been much higher if certain things
Yeah,
had
I
happened.
was debating between fantastic and amazing. I think what puts it at amazing for me as well is exactly that. Like everything I loved except for the treatment of the Asgardians and especially the Warriors 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just glad the Lady Sif was working on another show, so she couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly. And
So
she's
that she
still
can carry
alive.
on. But yeah, it's like, you know,
It happens really quick. You're like, huh? You could blink and kind of miss it.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like I at least struggle, like some kind of
Yeah.
like actual worthy battle where they gave it their all, but they kind of just went out like nothing.
Right.
You know, it's like in Revenge of the Sith when like 4 Jedi Masters walk into Emperor Palpatine's room and like they get killed in 2 seconds. Like, just give them a challenge.
Yeah.
I want to see the Emperor take on 4 Jedi Masters, not dispatch 3 of them and then just Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hogan had a little more of a battle, but like Volstagg and Fandral just went.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, just kill. It's like, what? They're major characters in Thor. So I was just really mad about that.
Valkyrie is incredible. Her inclusion.
Oh,
Can't complain.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like that's why like fantastic for Kate Blanchett,
The great things. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the world. Yeah,
Tessa,
like I said,
Tessa
Kate
Thompson,
Blanchett,
Jeff Goldblum,
Goldblum,
and also like
Keith
again,
Urban. Yeah.
like Hulk.
the gladiator scene. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and then like Hulk, the evolution of Hulk and Bruce Banner.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I liked, but it's just Thor is an Asgardian.
Yeah.
You just pretty much eliminated the Asgardians.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why it stays at amazing. All right, Black Panther, the first one. Where did I place this?
This one I'm really curious about. What you guys think of the first Black Panther?
I put it at fantastic.
Okay.
I love the introduction of Wakanda. I love all the characters that we got. And like maybe there's a little bit of bias for Chadwick as well. I'm trying to think of why. The only reason why I didn't put in Excelsior is like it's still Excelsior to me is still a really should be a harder rank to get compared to everything else. But like everything in Fantastic is, super great movies. So, but I love, also the music in this, and the mythology
So
that they did. And then the Killmonger is also one of the greater villains. Because he kind of makes a point, right?
Yeah.
This goes about it wrong. That's it. So yeah, I put it at fantastic. Where'd you put it, Lauren?
I put it in Excelsior, and here's the reason. I think that there was just the meaning of the film to particularly the African American community, having a superhero that they can look up to, and just Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, and they introduced us to so many great characters, Okoye, Ramonda. I just love Angela Bassett, and Shuri, obviously, Nakia, M'Baku. Just so many good. I mean, like the fact that there was only really one white character or two white characters in that film. And the rest was African American or African, I should say. And I just I just feel like it's one of their masterpieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's up there, definitely.
Yeah,
just my Excelsior standards kind of high.
super high. Yeah.
Esther agrees with me. Black Panther was just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Esther.
Yes, thank you. I put mine at fantastic. But I am with both of you. Like it would, if I could put it in between, I would, but I had to pick because like I'm with Rich here. Like Excelsior super high, but again, Warmonger is a fantastic villain. I'm just repeating what you said. You get where he's coming from. You're like, I kind of agree with him, but the way he's still a villain, he still does horrible things. But I get where he's coming from. Michael B. Jordan's incredible. Chadwick, as we all know, amazing, and I love that everyone universally knows like no one can replace him ever, ever. There's not a character in there I don't love, and I love that the two white characters we got were treated as such. We're treated as the token white guy. Martin Freeman's great. Andy Serkis, as we all know, is incredible.
Yeah.
Even Warmonger's death, I choke up a little bit because of how he goes out, because you kind of feel bad for him, but also understand his death means something. Like I love T'Challa's when he goes to the ancestral plane and how he just calls his father out and calls them all out for what he did. He's like, no, this is wrong. Like I loved him even in Civil War. I'm like, I want to see more of him. And we got it, and it's another one I go back to on my own. It's really good.
All right. Yeah, I think I don't know. I think I'm gonna move it here.
I'm okay with that. I'm
Where
okay
are you
with
moving
it.
Excelsior.
To Excelsior. You know what? I'm okay with that.
Because like
since we were both like in between anyway.
I'm like it's like really here.
Yeah.
So we'll just end it there.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. Absolutely. And yeah, the score is aside from like Ant-Man, I still think of the score.
Yeah. Definitely has one of the best.
Introduced me to Ludwig.
Yeah.
Would go on to do Mandalorian. So
another score we all know.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. So then we got Avengers Infinity War. This was the other one I placed at Excelsior. Yeah. Which is also one of the reasons why First Avengers is not here. I think Infinity War set up like it had to tie every single movie so far into this conflict and gave us a conflict. I just remember like at the end of that movie, like after every Marvel movie, there's like some applause or like, yay. It was dead silent.
Dead silent, yeah. Dead silent.
But like in that good way, because you're just like everyone in that theater was just like, oh my God, what just happened?
Yeah, we're like, what did we just see? What? And I just remember in my theater, this guy yelled out, "Is everybody okay?"
Oh, that's great.
Oh my God!
It's one of those things where, like, the theater experience, like, if you didn't get that experience, you're missing out.
It was like dead silent.
Yeah.
It was like,
but not because it was bad, but because you're like, wait a minute, this villain
affected everyone in such a profound way.
Yeah,
like we all knew part 2 was like that wasn't a secret that part 2 was going to come.
Yeah,
but like even then, you're still like, huh?
Yeah, you just never expected the villain to win at the end,
like that way. Like how much like actually happened like at the end.
Right.
The best thing about all that was the post, like after the post credit, whereas like the end of Doctor Strange says Doctor Strange will return. Instead, we get Thanos will return at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought all in all, like a great culmination of all the phases up to that point, and it left us with such a profound ending that like it transcended just viewing. It like was a theatrical shared experience, and I think that puts it up in Excelsior territory for me. How about you guys? Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Go ahead.
Just because I'm just going to be simple. I agree absolutely with Rich, and I put it in Excelsior.
Tom?
Yeah. It's so it's like seeing. So I had a unique experience with seeing Infinity War. Up until that point, there was only one movie I wasn't caught up on, and that was Black Panther. It was only one, and it was still in theaters. It wasn't out on digital yet. But at the time, I had 2 free tickets, like movie tickets, that I got from doing a gig at school. So I was like, you know what? I'll use both of these, and I'll do a double feature. I took an Uber to the theater. I went to the thing. I watched Black Panther, loved it. I walked out of the theater, got to take my 1 ticket for Infinity War, walked right back in. And I was next to just another guy who was by himself. And it was the same reaction there were people crying. Like I think I remember there was some like woman going, "What's happening?" Like she just couldn't believe, like at the end, at the snap. There's so many things I could say about it. Like, I know I've said this on here before, but I'll say it again. And you kind of touched on it, Rich, was like, if you were an exec at Marvel or Disney and Kevin Feige, we want to do this. We want to make this many movies with all these characters and have it all come together with all of them near the end to wrap up this story and do this. You would look at him, and I would look at him and say, "You're absolutely insane. That's going to be a train wreck. That will never work." And not only did it work, they blew it out of the water. And for me, I mean, seeing the guard and all of them. And for me personally, Thanos as a villain is up there for me with Darth Vader. Like, he's a perfect villain. Where for me, you understand his point of view, but he's still a villain and he's still out of line. I mean, I'll put it this way. This is controversial, and both of you know that I have this. I bought a shirt that I bought specifically to wear at Disneyland. I bought a shirt that says Thanos was right. So I remember when I went with Rich, I wore that, and I got some looks. So yeah, I did. Like Thanos, I think I forgot who it was. So one of the cast members says Thanos was right. Like they saw it and said something.
That's so funny.
But I can't. It's. I know we're all in agreement here. It's. Yeah, super Excelsior.
Yeah. All right. All in agreement with that. Next up is Ant-Man and Wasp. Start with you, Lauren.
Yeah.
I don't know why I put it in. It's okay. Because I really enjoy that film. I'm not sure why I put it there. It was not as good as Ant-Man, but I thought the villain was better than the one in Ant-Man. I like the fact that it had Bill Foster, and they didn't kind of like, addressed the fact that he was Goliath, and so I thought that was really cool. I don't know. I'm going to put it in amazing, actually.
Okay. Tom?
I initially had it at it's okay, but I just made a last minute decision. I think I'll put Ant-Man and the Wasp in amazing. I think I'll move it to amazing because I agree the villain is a villain. I also understand where she's coming from versus the villain of the first one. I mean, I do like the first Ant-Man a smidge more. Yeah. But there's a lot of things, and one of my favorite things is even though going in when this you kind of have an idea when this might be taking place, but not really. but the ending, we're like, oh,
Yeah.
wow,
You're like,
oh, okay, now we know, like, and you're just thrown, and you're like, what's gonna happen next? Because we were all still processing what happened at the end of Infinity War.
right.
This was like it felt like a little fun break, and at the end, like, nope, we're gonna remind you, we're gonna break your hearts.
Yeah.
Right. I also put it at amazing again, because Ant-Man definitely trumps it, and I really define a better word for that than Trump.
Yeah.
We need a new thing for that.
Yeah, like
I
because
know.
Ant-Man is I like Ant-Man better, so that's why it goes into amazing. But I loved that we got a Wasp, and she's not just like it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like to me, it's always been like those two.
Yeah.
But I also love that we also get Hope.
Yeah.
Janet Van Dyne back.
Right.
With Hank Pym, and it's Michelle Catwoman Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
And yeah, I liked the villain and her story with Lawrence Fishburne, right? And again, it's like the villains. It's not necessarily like defeat the villains and like kill them or whatever, put them in jail, and then like we're done. It's their story can still continue, right? There's still that loose end, and they're not like there's an understanding. Yeah, she did terrible things, but there's an understanding of why.
Yeah.
And Bill Foster's going to try to help her or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that thread is still there, right? But it's really just because Ant-Man, I think, was better. That it goes into amazing, but still, an enjoyable movie, and I'm looking forward to.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So, all right. Next up is Captain Marvel. I'll go. So Captain Marvel to me is a hard one.
Yeah.
For me, because for whatever reason, it's one I don't revisit all that often.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. So that's why I kind of put it at it's okay, because I feel like that's where it lands for me, where I don't hate it. It didn't deserve the hate it got.
No.
I like the story. I think because again, it's one of those things where it's tied to the Marvel universe, but it's not. Not yet. It's a character that's kind of out of time from everything we've seen.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's where it kind of lands for me. I am definitely looking forward though to the Marvels and seeing where now we're kind of caught up to what's going on now in the MCU and where that goes with Monica and Ms. Marvel. And I like Brie Larson as Danvers. What's his name? Talos. Ben.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ben. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ben. I like the twist with the Skrulls. I love that idea. It just falls kind of okay. Like compared to Thor, Captain America, Doctor Strange, it kind of falls below that for me. But again, it doesn't mean I hate it, right?
Yeah.
I really like this movie.
I actually agree with you. I think that's what I because I'm like, why did I put Ant-Man and the Wasp in okay? I think I meant to switch them because I have Captain Marvel and Amazing, but I actually meant to put her in It's Okay. Just for the same reason. I don't really rewatch her film.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it, and I think that like if I had to, it would be good. Because I like Esther says I like how it provides a background story to how Nick Fury came up with Avengers. Yeah, that was that was a cool part of it as well. And just seeing Nick Fury when he's younger and all that. I thought that was good. So anyway, yeah, I put in. I think I meant to put in. It's okay.
Yeah, I think also I was like I didn't really. I wasn't. I wasn't too excited about the Kree and how they were the villains. Not that they were villains, but like this how that played out
Yeah,
to me didn't like sit. I'm just like, all right, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like great compared to like the villains we started getting up to that point, right?
yeah.
There's a lot more nuance to it all, and it just felt like a step backwards in terms of villains.
Mm-hmm.
So, how about you, Tom?
Uh, I put it in its eye. For pretty essentially this, I'm okay with it being an okay instead. Because I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, when we saw it, I was like, that was cool. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But again, like both of you, like I haven't I haven't like rewatched it. I haven't got. It isn't one that I go back to.
Yeah.
I like Brie Larson. As you know, I like the character. Loved seeing a new side of Nick. Can't go wrong with the cat. Being a crazy cat man myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
There's a lot of things that I enjoyed of it, but I also have nitpicks too. Like as much as I like the music choices in and of itself, I'm making a kind of an unfair comparison here, but the music choices didn't for me feel like they were written as part of the story versus
Mm-hmm.
like what Gunn does with Guardians. It just felt like, oh, this is like this is a cool '90s song to put in here. Again, I like the songs, all of them, but they didn't feel fitting for me completely personally.
It was background, whereas Gunn chooses music that's part of the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like it accentuates the story.
I mean, I want to see more of. I want to see now that we know, like you said, we know more of these, the other Marvels. Essentially, I do want
Yeah.
to see more of her because I do like her. So, but
Yeah.
also like you guys, I just kind of don't really watch it on my own, really, versus the other ones. And again, the
Mm-hmm.
villains, I'm like, since we have, we had other ones that reached insanely high levels of quality villain wise. This felt like a little step back villain wise compared to what we had in the last few releases. So, yeah.
Right.
But I'm okay with it being. It's okay.
Right. And then
Okay.
next comes the second half of the Avengers Infinity War, and that is Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with you, Tom.
I'm torn on this, and I want either of you to help me decide.
Okay.
Where I have it right now is amazing. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I have one big issue, not a big issue. It's something that bugs me. I every time I rewatch it, I have to like think past it, like whatever. The whole inconsistency with some of the time travel stuff, like especially when Clint and I was gonna call her Wanda and Natasha go to get the Soul Stone. And I'm just like, why didn't anyone mention that one detail? Like, yeah, one of you're spoilers, sorry. One of you is not coming back. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that bugs me. And I have to like kind of ignore that. But that's the
Mm-hmm.
only reason, that's really, truly the only reason why I put it there. But I am more than okay with, if you guys think it's better at Fantastic, because everything else, there's so many great payoffs. But again, I
Yeah.
put it at amazing because of that nitpick that I have a hard time ignoring. And I've rewatched it a lot. Like if I watch Infinity War, I need to like almost immediately follow up with this one. Like I have to.
Yeah.
And again, it was one of the most amazing theater experiences I've ever had in my life. So
I
that's
put
where
it. I put it at Fantastic.
Mhm.
Like, and that's because between the two movies, I like Infinity War better.
Mhm.
I loved some of the time travel stuff, like the stuff with Tony and his father. Um, and then I think, and it gave us one of the most iconic, legendary moments, and that's the Avengers
Mhm.
Assemble, right?
Yeah.
I just remember
Yeah.
that moment when that happened. Like, I was
Everyone
ecstatic.
screamed.
I was, yeah, because they waited 4 Avengers films
To do
Mhm.
that,
for him to say that, and
and yeah, it brought weight. Like it felt it. Like that's where it
Mhm.
needed to be. Um,
yeah,
and it's only because really Infinity War I liked better that it
Yeah.
gets placed here as a two-parter.
hmm
Okay. Fantastic. It is.
yeah. I I put it in Excelsior just because I feel like they're bookends, and I just can't
That makes sense
separate the
too.
two. Um, you know, Avengers Assemble, obviously, great moment. I mean, I cried when Natasha
Mhm.
died. Um, I just thought it was so there was so much emotion. Um, I kind of liked Fat Thor. Um,
How can you
you
not?
know, I know. Well, I just because it's bookends, I like to me it's like a complete movie, and it's hard
Mhm.
for me to separate. Even though I do agree, Infinity War is the better half.
Mhm. If he had to, yeah. I mean, and
Yeah,
also I love the opening so much because like you where you
yeah,
just it's Clint with his semi like, oh, this is nice. And I remember out because Rich and I saw it together like at seven
yeah.
in the morning or something like that, wasn't it? Was it super early? I was like, I'll get no sleep for this because I'm a night owl. So I was like, I don't care. I'll drink a huge coffee and I'll do it. But at that
Right.
opening, we're all just I remember like, oh, this is nice, and we're like, well, wait, why are they showing us this? And then just the whole when it happens, when we realize this is the snap from Clint's point of view,
Yeah.
and just everyone just, and then Tony and Nebula, um, and I love just because we kind of expected it to be a big most of the movie to be a hunt for Thanos to get him back,
hmm
and we get that in like the first 10 minutes, and we're like, wait, what happens? And we see the result of the blip,
hmm
and just like one of my favorite little moments is the fact that Steve is doing what he's doing during the blip. He's helping people. I'm like, that's totally him. And
hmm
a nice little cameo from one of the two great directors is nice. There's a little sugar on top of that, but so yeah, I'm okay with it being fantastic. Sorry to cut in, but it's another one that I just go back to rewatching, despite my nitpick on it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So this one will split the difference.
I'm okay with that.
Fantastic. Um, Next comes the end of Phase 3.
hmm
Is it the end of Phase 3? Yes, the end of Phase 3, which is Spider-Man: Far From Home. Lauren, why don't you start off?
I put it in amazing. It's probably of the 3 Spider-Man films, it's probably my least favorite, even though I really like Mysterio. But I just felt like I liked. I don't know. I just felt I liked the other two better, and that's it. That's my thing. And Esther says
Mhm.
Endgame had such great battle scenes, funny moments, and heart wrenching moments that
Mhm.
struggle with trauma. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that Thor trauma, I think, will play into um, what I think about Love and Thunder later.
hmm
Um, Tom, where'd you place it?
I put it in it's okay. There's a lot of things I do like about it. Like I like Jake Gyllenhaal is one of my favorite actors alive right now. Believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think he's great. Um, uh, I do love Tom Holland's. There's a lot of things I love about it, but I also at the same time sort of kind of forget about it. Like whenever I wrap up Endgame, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They had one that kind of followed this up. Like I have to like be reminded. Whenever I get my rewatches, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This is here too. That's the really only reason I put it in. It's okay, even though there's plenty of things about it that I enjoy. But I also like, I liked the incorporation of, I like just dealing with the aftermath of Tony being gone and everyone being back. There's a lot of things I love about it, but I also kind of forget about its existence until I wrap up Endgame.
I place it a fantastic. I like it as much as
I kind of actually, I thought you would do that.
Yeah. Opposite to Tom, I never really liked Jake Gyllenhaal until this movie. It made me love Jake Gyllenhaal. It gave us if there was a villain you told me like would never make a movie with his costume, it would be like one would be like definitely Mysterio.
They do make it work.
They made it work. I like the development of this Peter and MJ and Ned. I liked how they messed with Peter's mind in this movie.
Yeah.
And I love his relationship with Happy. And so it's and again it goes back to also Spider-Man is still one of my favorite childhood heroes. So
right.
I place it fantastic. So in this one we'll split the difference and go with amazing. Oops. And that ends phase 3.
Yeah.
So let's go with Black Widow.
Okay.
Which is the pandemic.
The pandemic world.
Yeah.
Pandemic movie. I grudgingly put it at its height. For me, it didn't do what I wanted to do for Black Widow. I think it developed more Yelena and that backstory more than it really drove a Black Widow story. The villain to me again was forgettable. Like I don't even remember his name or whatever.
I barely remember what he looked like.
I know he's like a horrible overweight, like older, bearded, whatever. And I think there's just way too much going on in the background with like the other Black Widows and whatnot. I wanted to love this movie. I wanted to like it better than its height. One, because like the two female-driven movies are kind of on the bottom half. I just think they did it wrong. I wish her last movie was better.
See, I put it at amazing because I really enjoyed this film, and I've watched it actually several times. But it may also just be because I mean, I do love Natasha in this movie, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot about Yelena. They introduced the Red Guardian. Again, another superhero I never thought we'd ever see in a movie. And I really liked, what's her name? Rose something? The mother.
Rachel Weisz?
Oh, Rachel Weisz.
I don't know why.
She's great.
Where did I get Rose from? Rachel Weisz, yeah.
You get her mixed up with Rose Byrne.
Yeah, that's what it.
Oh, that's right.
I always confuse them. So anyway, I just thought that they were really great characters. Yeah, I mean, maybe the story isn't as great, but I just thought that those characters were so good, and the interactions, that scene where they're having dinner or whatever. I
Yeah.
just thought it's such a great, that whole part in Rachel Weisz's house. I thought was just so good. So that's why to me, and I can watch that part over and over again. Great.
Tom.
I I put mine initially at meh. I'm sorry. I like you, Rich. I wanted to love it. I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored, but again, it felt kind of odd timing. Considering.
Yeah, I mean, I
like,
agree with that.
but the new characters, I loved all of them. I mean, the villain, kind of forgot. I was like, when you were talking about the villain, I was like, it had a villain. Like, I forgot there was a villain. I thought it was just kind of like more of just them. I was like, oh yeah, there was a villain. I forgot about that. But I've loved Florence Pugh for quite a while now, so it was nice to see her in something like this, and she kind of stands out for me.
Yeah.
Nick is great. I mean, everyone in it is great. I mean, as far as the main characters. But I did also kind of forget. I mean, I'm willing to say I'm willing to go with Rich to up the ranking because of the things I did enjoy. But then again, I only watched it once, and that was when it came out on Disney Plus. So I still need to rewatch it a second time, which I will. But I also, at the same time, kind of forgot about it and elements of it anyway. So, yeah.
All right. So we'll again split it.
Yeah.
Next up is the Eternals. I also put this at its eye. I think it was a messy movie. I think there was way too much story they needed to tell and not enough time.
Yeah.
I think that any of the action scenes were just kind of It's, they basically had Justice League, but they didn't really have the Justice League.
Although I think that they did have a really cool battle with Superman, the Flash, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman.
Unofficially.
But it wasn't enough for me to save that movie. Like, I just feel like it should have been a miniseries. It should have been a Disney Plus series, so we got to know the characters better. And there's nothing against was it Chloe Zhao?
Yeah.
Like, she's an amazing director. I just think this was too much for her to start with.
Yeah, I think for any director it would have been hard for them,
to cram it all into one movie is a lot.
Right.
Yeah. And there was this characters that didn't need to be in that movie. Like Kingle's role, like, he was comic relief, and then he disappeared. Like, literally disappeared at the end of the movie. Like, he's just like, peace out. I'm like, okay, is that
bye?
They didn't want to do any more special effects with his fingers or whatever. The whole love triangle with Sprite, I'm like,
and Kingo.
It's a very hard thing.
Was in Makari.
But yeah, like, I just think that we didn't it's kind of how I feel about Rogue One. We got so many characters that I want to get to know, but we don't get enough time, so I don't care enough at the end of the movie about them. And I think that's what this has been a Disney Plus series instead of.
I 100% agree. And Esther says that she agrees that the Eternals was all right. I didn't feel like there was much character development. Right. So true. Yeah, I put it in meh.
Really?
I put it in meh. Just because I don't really feel a need to revisit it until
Until Eternals
they
come out
tell
somewhere.
me what is happening with the
What's coming next?
Celestials
Yeah.
and Black Knight and all that. Then I may be more interested. I mean, like I said, there were scenes that I enjoyed from it, but for the most part, it's just kind of, it was just mad to me. I mean, um, there wasn't anything super special about it.
Yeah, there's definitely like, as Esther says, there's no character development. It's true because there's way too
Yeah.
many characters
Yeah.
in an already long movie, but
Yeah,
not enough to actually develop them. Like I'm
yeah,
interested in all of them.
Yeah.
I just didn't get to know them enough at the end to really care as but what was
yeah.
going on. And again, like I said, it's telling when one of them just leaves.
Mm.
Like, okay,
Bye. All right. See ya.
Right.
see ya in
Uh,
Obi-Wan.
Yeah. That's right.
I just want to be cognizant of time because we were at 2 hours and 15 minutes
It's all right.
now.
It's all right.
Um,
It's all right. I mean, I'm with you, LJ. I put it in meh. I wanted to love it because there's a lot of things I was fascinated about. I knew they were going to cover the celestial stuff, which is a subject that I eat up. But I just, again, we're all in agreement here. I feel like just like
Mm.
too much to
Too
cram into what
much.
should have been a series. I
Yeah,
want to see more of them, but I want to get to know them more too. So
yeah.
we'll see.
Mhm.
All right, I'll leave it here.
Mhm.
Shang-Chi. Since these are more recent, we can kind of just breeze a little bit.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
did you place it, Lauren?
Oh, I put it in fantastic. Again, another film I love. I didn't think that it did as much for the Asian American community as the African American community, but I feel a certain amount of pride for that film,
Mhm.
and I just thought I love the mythology. I love the action sequences. I love Simon Liu, and I love Aquafina in this. When I heard that Aquafina was going to be in it, I'm like, oh, will she work? But she did. And again, why would I question, um, Marvel on their casting?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Tom?
I put it at it's okay. I enjoyed it a lot when we saw it in theaters, but I also at the same time kind of forgot about it. And then again, I only watched it once. I need to rewatch it again. But at the time, the fight sequences were probably like the best out of
hmm
like everything Marvel combined. Personally, because it's nice and smooth, no rapid camera movement. It's beautiful. But I also at the same time kind of forgot about it. But I want to see more of him. I want to see more of his sister. I want to see more of his characters. I want to see
yeah,
more. I want to see where they go. But at the same time, I haven't had the thought of going back to rewatch it. I will, but since it came out, I was like, oh, I really want to see that again. But that's the reason I put it at okay.
yeah,
I put it at amazing. The reason why it doesn't go in fantastic for me is that I wasn't that excited about the ending when it
Mhm.
becomes way too like the
yeah.
dragon, and it just didn't. I
There's a
like the
lot going on.
conflict. I wish the conflict was just really Shang-Chi and his father.
Yeah,
And they didn't really
Yeah,
need the dragon at the end. I think that's what pushes it down. But I
yeah,
do still love that movement, I definitely want to see more of Shang-Chi. We know we are because Dustin Creighton, whatever,
oh yeah.
is doing the Kang one,
yeah,
hmm
and I think he's doing another one. Um, and they haven't announced a lot of the Phase 6 stuff, so
yeah.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna get more Shang-Chi
Mhm. I
in
do hope so.
Phase 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll split the
Okay.
difference. It goes amazing. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I struggled with where to put this because the more I thought about it, the
hmm
more I was like, they kind of did Scarlet Witch wrong, like dirty.
Oh. Really?
because it just came off WandaVision. She had this revelation, and then she goes right into being a villain again. And I'm like, it could have been timing, like for the story to take place, but I feel like there needed to be something happens between WandaVision and this movie where you see her devolve again. But like it feels like she was a villain ish in WandaVision, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, I heard all these people," and then she does even worse in Multiverse of Madness. So as much as I liked all this stuff, and it wasn't really like, I liked all the like Sam Raimi's direction. This is a very Sam Raimi movie, so that part I love. It's just that the character of Scarlet Witch to me was a character in the beginning, like you said, from Age of Ultron, like you didn't really like her because he wasn't really Scarlet Witch. And then we got Scarlet Witch at the end of WandaVision, and then they like turned her straight into a straight up a villain. So I feel like if Multiverse of Madness came later, and there's some things with Scarlet Witch where you can see her with her powers as a good guy, and then it's like devolve slowly into what we get in Multiverse of Madness. So that's why I put it at it's okay.
Esther agrees with you. She said, "Thank you, Cousin Rich." She goes through her grieving process all over again. I agree with that, but at the same time, I think it's two different things. Because the first one, I think she was really not that aware of what she was doing, and she was like, that's why Catherine Hahn or Agatha was so agitated with her, is because she didn't know what she was doing. Then this time she did know what she was doing, but it was it was about grieving, but instead of grieving about the vision, it was about her children. And so I thought that was an interesting twist to it. I enjoyed it, and I thought that Elizabeth Olsen like chewed up the scenery in this film. So I put it in fantastic.
I also put it at fantastic because even though I've only watched it once when it came out, I am still thinking about it. I do agree with Rich to a certain point. It would have been nice to get more in between, but I also understand that context of her at the very end of WandaVision where she is like, oh yeah, she already grieved the loss essentially finally of Vision, but now there's this little twinge of like, oh, I can get my kids back. I'm going to do anything I can to get them back, anything, and she does that. I love that she just completely just cleans the floor of the Illuminati. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love how just it's like, and I love so and I've been waiting for my girlfriend and I to catch up on. So I want to watch Multiverse of Madness because Doctor Strange is her favorite and she loves Wanda already. So I can't wait for her to see everything that happens. Like I'm still thinking about it. Yeah. So, and Sam Raimi's direction, like Rich and I have said the same thing. It's like if we didn't know who the director was and then we saw it, we're like, this is Raimi. We know who this is. We know who directed this. I love how different and just crazy it is, but in the best ways. I'm still thinking I was almost close to putting it at Excelsior, but I kind of fought against it. So for me, it's fantastic, and I can't wait to watch it again. It's just so just bananas, and I love it. And I love how dark it and weird it gets.
Yeah.
You leave it fantastic. Again, like I enjoyed that movie a lot. It's just that after thinking about it, it just felt like to me like the Anakin turn where he's like, "What have I done? All right, I'll become a Sith."
See, I do also get that too.
Next up is Thor: Love and Thunder. Let's start with you, Tom.
I was hoping you wouldn't pick me first. Okay. I wanted to love Thor: Love and Thunder. I really did. I really, really did, because I do love Thor, and I love like I said earlier that I always thought that Jake Gyllenhaal was one of the best actors alive. I hold Christian Bale at, as far as working actors is concerned. Christian Bale is like in the top 3 for me by far. He's amazing. And when they announced that he was going to be this, I'm like, wow, this is. But I'm sorry. I mean, I'm willing to. Like, I know when we talked about it on here, you guys changed my mind on a couple things, and I will rewatch it at some point. But I'm sorry, I put it at meh personally.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the humor just didn't work for me personally. I'm glad it did for others, but for me, I wanted to love it so bad. But even the Guardians for me, I was seeing in the beginning, I was like, I just want more Guardians. Like, just like, but I'm sorry. I mean, it could change. I'm willing, I want to rewatch it. That it could change, it could go up, but as of right now, that's where I'm putting it. I'm sorry.
No apologies. I put it. Where did I put it? I put it at amazing. We went through this when we talked about it, so I don't really want to revisit why.
Yeah, no, I get it.
If you want, you can revisit that thing. But
yeah, we talk about it.
But basically, Jane Foster is why I put it up. But I agree with a lot of the criticisms. I just think because this is like a personal ranking, right? So personally, it gets elevated because of that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand completely.
I put it in under it's okay. I really enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed watching it, and I thought it was really funny. But I felt like there's like a line that you can step over, and I felt like Taika Waititi stepped over that line and made it a little too silly. But I did think I laughed through the whole thing, and I know Olivia really enjoyed it. But yeah, just for me, it's just okay.
Yeah, I love the goats.
Esther loves the goats. Yes,
the goats were fun.
The goats were great.
There was a lot of great stuff in it. Don't get me wrong, but I feel bad. I feel bad. I'm sorry.
I know the criticism. I agree with that. Yeah. Like, I will say this: my biggest criticism is they put Gore, the God Butcher, in a movie where he didn't butcher gods.
Yeah. That was a thing.
And we needed more Gore.
Christian Bale was in a different movie than everyone else.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'll criticize. Why it's not up any further than amazing. But it does teeter for me. So like I understand it. So we can leave it.
But I also understand, where you're coming from too. Like I get it.
Right.
All right.
Next up is Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Okay.
Since I am the Spider-Man person,
yeah.
I put this at a success. Out of the 3 Spider-Man movies, I like this the best because it completes the origin story of Spider-Man in the MCU, ties up every other Spider-Man movie. It gave the fact that it gave Andrew Garfield Spider-Man that ending for him, saving MJ in this one,
gave him a good
like that. Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, and then the impact of Aunt May on this one. So I felt this was a better multiverse story than the Multiverse of Madness.
Didn't this come out before Multiverse?
What?
Didn't this come out before Multiverse of Madness?
No.
Am I crazy? I could have sworn it came out before.
It did come out before Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Sorry.
I put it in there wrong. But so, I mean, it still was a better multiverse movie than Multiverse of
Yeah.
Madness.
I'm going to agree with you on everything, and add that it was the first film with Tagalog in it. So
That is true.
that's an Excelsior for me.
Wait, Rich, where'd you put it?
Excelsior.
See, I put it at amazing. I loved it, but there's a lot of things. I feel like the between all three of the Spider-Man, I feel like the direction was at its strongest. And Alfred Molina, amazing. Willem Dafoe, mind blowing. But I haven't, and there's a lot of things I love about it, but I haven't found the reason to go back to watch it. That's the only reason I put it as at amazing. Even though I enjoyed it more than Far From Home, but like it got me more hyped for multiverse. Like it's like I just want multiverse to come out. Like so, but I understand Excelsior completely.
Yeah.
So not going to disagree with you on that.
Okay.
Last but not least is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
Let's start with you, Lauren.
I put it under fantastic. I thought it was a great film. I didn't think it was as good as Black Panther, the original, but I love the whole Tolokan Namor thing, and Angela Bassett was like
Incredible.
gave me chills. I hope she wins an Academy Award. So yeah, that's where I'm putting it.
Tom?
I was going to put it on fantastic, but I did like the first Black Panther a bit more thinking about it. So it would be like, how we do like in between, like closer to fantastic. So I put it at amazing, but I feel like they were just so respectful. Also considering like he already wrote the script for it and then Chadwick passed and he had to rewrite it. But he still made it work and just gave so much respect and love toward it. You could tell that everyone involved was this was a passion piece for them. And the ending for it, how they handled Shiri accepting his passing is like a perfect ending. It was just this nice, quiet little moment where there wasn't really much sound. It's just her just reflecting finally.
Yeah.
And I also liked, Rich and I talked about this. We liked that there wasn't really a post-credit scene. It didn't need one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you had it amazing?
I had it at amazing only because I like the first Black Panther a bit more. But I'm okay with the fantastic ranking too.
Yeah. Because I changed my mind about Black Panther to go to Excelsior. This was originally on amazing as well, but I'll move it to fantastic.
I'm okay with
my complaints are like we talked about this when it came out. So like
right, the marvelous stuff.
It's there's a lot of stuff there that didn't need to be there, and it was just to progress the Marvel movie. And I think this movie needed to be what it was about Chadwick, and then introducing Talokan and Namor. And that's what prevents it, I think, from being a better movie. So, and there you go. We have ranked all 30
Oh my
movies.
God.
It only took 2.5 hours.
Especially to Esther for sticking
around.
Yay! All right.
Next time we do this, we'll just do phase 5.
Yeah. We won't do all of them again.
Yeah.
Or we could do a really long one and be let's rank all 60 Disney movies.
I know. Oh my God.
Oh, I don't even know how
I would have to break it down by era to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
all right.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, we have reached the end of our 2.5-hour program. And thank you, Esther, for sticking with us. For anybody who isn't subscribed to our channel already, we'd love it if you would do that. Hit the bell for notifications and do like this post, as it really does help us out. And yeah, with that, she says, I love this and hearing you guys' thoughts. Well, definitely we do a live every Tuesday, and we just banter about these things all the time. So definitely check us out if you haven't. Definitely come back for our lives.
Yeah, usually it's a lot of Disney news, but also we do Marvel, obviously, but also Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Let's reminder tonight, Willow, the series.
Willow. Oh my
that's right. Oh, good.
So after this, I'm actually going to watch Willow and then watch the series. Tonight. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us, and we will see you later. Bye.
Ta.
Catch you on the flip side.